Welcome back to Americana Outdoors. Well, Garmin Corporate Communications Director Ted Gartner always looks forward to the fall to come down to deer camp in South Texas and create a lot of fun memories.
This year is really my second season archery hunting. I kind of came to the archery game late, but I'm hooked. And so I came down here with my bow in hand. I took a nice whitetail last year, really proud of him, and Wade and I talked a little bit and decided that an axis deer might be what we want to go after, so that's kind of what we were targeting. One of the places that he had mentioned that immediately made me perk up was what we call the dead oak stand. The dead oak stand has been very good to this man and to his son as well. I took my first bow whitetail off this stand last year. My son shot a nice whitetail off of the same stand. I love this stand. It's kind of down in a dry creek bed. It's a natural thoroughfare for a lot of different game. It's neat because you can see a long way. You can see stuff coming in. It's challenging too because they can see you. So it requires that you be pretty still, but it's a neat setup. And when Wade mentioned that one, I immediately perked up. Axis are they are a beautiful deer. The coat on those things is just spectacular with all the spots and everything. And it's amazing to me how well they can camouflage with that, speckled of a coat, but they kind of materialize out of nowhere and then they just pop. But most of all are the antlers on these things. And when you see a mature axis buck come out of the woods, you're onto something. And if your heart isn't pounding after that, I don't know what's wrong with you. So the first morning, I went out to this dead oak stand, and it played out like it usually does out there. It stays dark a lot because you're enclosed in a big canopy of trees, so it's a lot darker than it is, if you're out on the prairie. It stayed dark. It also is dead calm down there. If there's one real challenging thing about that set is that it doesn't get much wind, and therefore they can hear everything, they can see everything. So it's a real challenge, especially archery hunting, to draw your bow. But anyhow, Jeff and I got out there and we saw a lot of animals come in. We saw pigs come in before it even got light. We saw a herd of turkeys go through there like nobody's business, probably 30 or more turkeys kind of trucked through there. We got a lot of nice whitetail in there. We also had a axis buck that had recently shed his antlers, and it's kind of strange for people that aren't used to hunting down in South Texas and exotics. Axis deer kind of shed their antlers at any time of year. They grow them at any time of year. So you can see a mature buck either with antlers or without. You can see him in velvet. That's another real attraction to hunting axis deer. This guy came in and it was clear that he had shed his antlers just recently. And I would have liked to see the kind of rack that he had because he was a big boy, big-bodied animal. We would have had a great shot at him, but again, he wasn't the deer I was looking for.
Welcome back to Americana Outdoors presented by Garmin. Well, we're at deer camp in Bracketville, Texas with our frequent guest, Ted Gartner from Garmin. This year he decided that it might be a good idea to go after axis with his bow. And today, he's hunting with a new Garmin GPS Maps 64SC.
I love this unit. It's a time-tested format. It's very familiar to most guys. It's got buttons, very ruggedized, all that sort of stuff. But we've added one really cool feature to this unit, and that's a camera. So basically, it allows you, like any smartphone, to take pictures. Why would you take pictures with this as opposed to a smartphone? Well, number one, it's waterproof. If the weather is lousy, you're not going to want to pull out your smartphone. This, you can drop, you can get wet, it's not a big deal. It takes really nice pictures. The other nice thing about it is when you take a picture, it automatically locates where that picture is taken. So not only are you saving a photo, but you're actually saving a waypoint. So you can navigate back to that. That's really nice for somebody like me when I'm marking waypoints and all I get is a 008, 009. I have no idea what they mean. If you take a picture of it, you basically have a visual cue so you know exactly what that waypoint is. You just hit go to and it guides you directly there. So this is a tree stand that I want to navigate to. So basically all I need to do hit menu, view information, and go. And there we are.
The evening hunt we set up at a different spot, and I was kind of excited about this spot because it was one that nobody had ever really hunted before. We really didn't know what we were going to see going into there, but thanks to game cameras and that sort of stuff, we knew that there were some axis deer in the area. Sure enough, it wasn't long after we got set up, we saw some movement out in front of us, and about 4 or 5 fallow deer came in. There was also a very young axis fawn that came in with them. And as I started to look around, lo and behold, it was a mature axis buck with about 3 does that he was kind of herding around. He was kind of trying to get out in front of our stand, and the pig was between the axis and where we wanted him to be. So kind of the axis bolted really quick and got into a shooting lane. I wasn't ready, I wasn't mentally prepared, I wasn't physically prepared to do it. I pulled a pretty lousy shot. I was pretty disappointed in myself. I knew right as soon as I touched that release that it was a bad shot. It was a disappointment to me, but again, I think anybody that has the opportunity to draw back on a mature axis, their heart is going to start pounding, and I just rushed my shot.
All right, it is morning number 2. We're heading back to the same stand as we did yesterday. Didn't see a lot of critters that we were looking for yesterday, but we know they're moving through there, so I think it's just a matter of time. It's gonna be another hot day today, get up in the 80-degree range, late October, but it's kind of the way it is in South Texas, so we're gonna get at it early and see what we can do.
As soon as you settle down, stuff starts moving around, and that's exactly what happened here. We started having some pigs move in, and they were kind of milling around. We had 2 or 3 immature white-tailed bucks and some does along with them come right down in front of us. Lo and behold, we saw that same axis buck that had shed his antlers. He came in, he came right up to us. Actually kind of looked right at us for a while, but we stayed motionless and he kind of went on his merry way. About that time, I see over to my left, I see this big mature axis buck crossing the creek bed. Immediately my heart started racing. I knew that this was the animal that I wanted. I knew that if I just play my cards right, I settle down and I relax, I've got the potential for a really good shot on a trophy buck. I looked over to my right, and there was a fork-horn buck there, and he was eyeballing me like nothing else. And I'm so glad I saw that little deer when I did, because he would have busted me for sure. Luckily, I waited it out what seemed like an eternity, and finally he kind of moved on his way. And about the time he moved on his way, Mr. Big Antlers came in.
Smoking.
So after about a couple hours, we went back out there, started looking around. The blood trail was actually, it got more difficult to find. little drops here and there. And again, that's kind of when that doubt starts creeping in. By this time, I'm focused down on the ground. I mean, I'm almost on my hands and knees, looking at every piece of grass and every leaf to see if there's a bit of blood on it. You know, then I finally realized, you know what, why don't you maybe look ahead, dummy? And I looked ahead, and about 20 yards away, there he was. That's a toad.
Man, what a beautiful deer. Came in and thought I had a pretty good shot on him, and you know, big deal is to let them die, let them do what they're supposed to do, let nature take its course. And took about a 2-hour break, and boy, that's a long 2 hours. I don't care who you are, but we were able to track him down. Got a beautiful Southwest Texas axis, man. Gorgeous, gorgeous animal. So on the GPS, we are, as the crow flies, about 100 yards. You know, you can see the creeks. This has bird's eye satellite imagery loaded into it, so you can kind of see creeks and kind of natural funnels for deer, and where deer might go if they're wounded. They typically head to the thickest stuff that there is, and it's pretty thick stuff. But Garmin helped. Now it's just getting him out of here.
There he is.
Nothing to it, my friend.
Yeah, you know, there are some days when you've got it, and there are some days when you don't. The same is true for hunting, but it really makes it worthwhile when you have one of those days when just everything clicks. The deer read the script. You know, you've got a great angle to capture it so that everybody else can see it. Everything went according to plan. And I love it when a plan comes together, and it doesn't always do that, which is why it makes it so much more special.
Nothing like a deer in the back of the Viking.